What do you need to look for in a house when you're moving to Florida? I'm going to share 11 tips today of things you need to absolutely make sure you're taking into account when you're searching for your Florida home. Right off the top, this is the most important and the biggest one, and it is your Lanai Space. Let's face it, you're moving to Florida to live the lifestyle. That means you're looking to be outside, enjoying our over 300 days of sunshine a year and our fabulous warm winters and amazing weather. So you want to have a space where you can bring your indoor living out, and that is your Lanai. So there's several things that you need to consider when you're looking at your Lanai space. Obviously, the first one is just the size. Now, if you're looking to purchase a condo, it's going to be a little more restricted, but there are still variances in the different types of condo floor plans. So it doesn't mean that if it's a smaller Lanai, you can't make it work. You just need to be aware. So you're going to want to consider things like how much furniture can sit out here. Can you put a living space and a table and chairs? You may not be able to. You also want to take into account how much is under cover, because let's face it, it does get warm here sometimes. So it's really nice to have a ceiling fan option that can give you some nice, pleasant temperatures to be able to enjoy the outside of your Lanai. All right, next, sun exposure. This is a big question and one that we get asked pretty much with almost every single buyer that we go out with. And that is, what is the best sun exposure? You've heard me talk about it before. When we talk about sun exposure here in Florida, we are talking about what is in the rear of your home. So are you seeing western sunsets? Are you seeing eastern sunrises? What is it? You'll hear people talk about south and southwest the most, because traditionally with a southern rear exposure, you're gonna have sunshine outside all day. And then obviously when you get to the west, you're gonna have some sunsets. So I get asked, what is my favorite? And to be honest, I like south, I like southwest, west. Gets a little hot, but depending on the lot, it could work. But my favorite house that I've ever had actually had a northwestern sun exposure. Now, why it worked for us was because we had a lot of space to work with. It was a larger single family home and the pool was drastically pushed out. So our pool was still in the sun all afternoon. And for those of us that live here full time, that is what we want. Why I liked the northern exposure is because in the summertime, when it's quite hot here in Florida, we had a lot of nice shade in our covered area, and we could still comfortably sit outside and utilize our Lanai space with the ceiling fan during those months. But the truth is it really just depends on your preferences. I do have some people who absolutely 100% want an eastern exposure because they're morning people, they love waking up with the sun, and they like being able to enjoy their Lanai in the shade in the evening and have happy hour without the sun beating in. So it really varies based on your particular needs and wants. All right, number 3, and if you've watched our videos, you know I talk about this all the time. You need to have an awareness of the closet situation in your home. They don't make our closets here like they do up north. So I kind of will often tell people, like, that is one place that you're probably gonna be a little disappointed. Not always, but a lot of times, because the closets here are just quite a bit smaller. And I think the reason that we notice that so much is because we don't have basements. And while we do have space in the attic or above the garage, it is so hot up there. It is just not a good idea to store anything up there. Sometimes people will put down plywood and they'll put a fan up there, but let me tell you, I mean, it's 97 degrees during the day downstairs right now in the summertime. So imagine what the temperature is up in the attic. So I never recommend that anybody store anything up there because it is just going to get ruined from the heat. That's just the truth of it. So while there's not a lot that you can do about the size of the closets, obviously you can have them finished off to make them more efficient, and it's, you know, probably not a deal breaker in most cases, but you want to have an awareness of what you're coming into as far as the closets go. All right, and then moving right on from that is the garage. So a 2-car garage here in Florida is just not the same as a 2-car garage up north. I don't know why that is. I think it's because they're just trying to really get more houses on each parcel of land. But I will often say to people, like, where I came from, where I grew up, a 2-car garage is really more like a 2.5-car garage. There's got a lot of room on the sides that allows you to put bikes and toys and garbage cans and all that stuff. Here in Florida, a lot of times the 2-car garage is literally just the width and then a little bit of then just a little bit beyond what it would take to put cars in there. So again, just have an awareness of it. We often will say, if you have the choice, if you're building to add the third stall, it's a good idea. Sometimes we'll have a 2.5 to account for a golf cart. Again, these are not deal breaker items, just things that you need to be aware of and looking at when you're moving here from up north, because these are things that we talk about a lot and that people notice. All right, number 5. So if you have pets, and so many people do, you just want to make sure that you're taking into consideration what are the pet restrictions in the community if they have some. A lot of our neighborhoods here are condo associations, homeowners associations, and those do come with some rules, and that includes pets as well. So again, you just need to be aware. What we don't want is for you to fall in love with a community that has pet restrictions that don't accommodate your family, because they are a part of your family. This is why one of the questions that we ask early in our wish list when we start working with the buyer is we're asking about their pets, and this is why. Even if you don't have pets, we want to know, are you planning on getting pets? I just recently sold a house to a sweet couple, their first time home. They don't have any pets today, but now that they own a home, they plan on getting a dog. So that was a factor that we took into account when we were narrowing down what neighborhoods they were looking at to purchase their first home. And we made sure that it allotted for the type of pet that they're thinking that they're going to get. Sometimes there's size restrictions, sometimes there's number of pet restrictions. And especially if you're looking at condo living, it is much more restricted. Oftentimes we'll see a 1 pet only, 25 pounds maximum. And this frustrates people sometimes. And I do get it, because our pets are a part of our family. But just imagine if you live in a condo building that has an elevator and has 14 floors, and if everybody in that elevator has 2 dogs, 3 dogs, dogs that weigh 150 pounds, it can get pretty tough. So if you really step back and think about it, you can see why there are a little more restrictions on condo associations. But again, just a factor that you need to be aware of when you're looking to purchase a home in Florida. All right, number 6, does the home have impact glass? This is a great benefit. And if you live closer to the coast, it is absolutely something that you're gonna want. However, for those of us that live a little further east, for example, I live east of 75, we don't have the same amount of impact as the homes that are closer to the coast. Now, is it still a great benefit? Of course. It just means that you don't have to worry about putting up shutters if a named storm is coming and you're looking to do that. Places like Babcock Ranch, again, sometimes people will still choose to put up the shutters. That is a personal decision when a storm is coming, but the further inland, I would say that the less it's such a factor, but always definitely more convenient. And then to follow that up, a lot of times people will put a roll down shutter on their lanai. Do you need both? You don't need both. But again, if you choose to put that shutter, or if you happen to purchase a home that has that roll down shutter on the back, that is another nice benefit. So basically what it does is if you're shuttering up your house for a storm, you're able to pull all of your lanai furniture, anything that will move around or blow in the wind, inside, and then close it within the shutter. For those of us that don't have that, for example, we don't have one on our home right now, we actually have to move all of our items either into our house or into our garage if a storm is coming, because you can't have anything outside that could turn into a projectile in the high winds that come with a storm. Luckily, we've lived here for 12 years now. We've had several named storms, but we've only actually shuttered up our house 1 time out of those. Again, we live east of 75. It would be a different situation if you had a home closer to the coast. But again, impact glass, huge benefit, definitely convenient, but not always 100% necessary. So it should not be a deal breaker if you find a home you love that does not have impact glass. All right, something a little more fun, outdoor kitchens. So these aren't for everyone. Not everyone wants an outdoor kitchen. But if you envision yourself having an outdoor kitchen for when you're entertaining outside on your lanai, and if your home doesn't have one, when you're looking at homes, you just want to look at the space to make sure that you would have a spot to actually add one in. We have a lot of windows and a lot of sliding glass doors in Florida, which is fantastic because it lets in so much natural light inside to the house. But just have an awareness, and this kind of goes back to even talking about the Lanai Space. It sometimes does limit what your options are within the lanai. So if you absolutely know that you want an outdoor kitchen or a summer kitchen so you can build in your grill, have a fantastic ice maker, a refrigerator, things like that, just make sure if there's not one already or there's not a roughed in area that you have a wall where you can actually do that. And you will want that under cover or under an elite roof, especially for people who live here all year round, because in the summertime, we have a lot of rain in the afternoons and a lot of lightning, and you will not want to be outside, not under cover grilling. You might not even want to be inside your lanai grilling, depending on the storm. But for the most part, we're able to maneuver around those because they come every afternoon, pretty much like clockwork. They blow down, they blow in, and then they blow out, and then we have an awesome evening. All right, number 8, just have an awareness of the location of the lot in the community and sounds. So when I'm showing property, if somebody always has music playing, sometimes it's just for ambiance. There's a lot of water features outside. Sometimes it is there to actually try to make the impact of the noise outside of the home a little less noticeable. So just want to have an awareness, Florida is very flat. So sound does travel, and you're on a water lot. It also will bounce off of water. So again, some people, this does not bother them at all. I will often kind of say when I'm showing houses, or if there's something on a road, like, you know, how important is noise to you? Some people like it totally quiet. Other people don't care. If someone's coming from a city or a really busy area, they might already be used to all that noise. And again, each person is different and each person has a different feeling on that. It's just about having an awareness of the situation of your lot. And then also just always keeping in mind in the back of your head that you need to also think about it for resale value someday. All right, next, number 9, rental restrictions. So kind of goes hand in hand with the pet restrictions. If you're in a condo association, if you're in a homeowners association, there are likely rental restrictions within your neighborhood. Sometimes they're very strict, sometimes they're very loose. So again, even if you're not planning on renting out your property at all, you want to understand what those restrictions are, because that is going to impact who is coming into your property, who's using your property. We have a neighborhood down in Naples, Briarwood, that is very liberal on rentals. You can rent all the time. In Naples Park, it's not a association-driven neighborhood, and they allow nightly rentals because it's just a normal neighborhood with no rules at this time. So there might be people turning over every day using those as Airbnbs. Those are heavy rental areas. Cape Coral, the same. You're going to see a lot more Airbnbs there. So again, even if you're not renting the property, you do want to have an awareness of what is happening within your community, because again, someday you might turn around and want to sell it, and that will be a factor in your resale. Not necessarily a negative one. We have a lot of investors who invest in our market here in Southwest Florida, and renting property is a great way to build wealth. It's a great way to impact your tax burden. We have rentals ourselves. So again, not talking against them. It's just about understanding what it is that you're looking to purchase and what you can expect. Next, number 10, the pool. All right, listen, I personally like to have a pool living here in Florida, but I also live here all year round. A lot of people that I work with, they don't want to deal with a pool. They don't want to have to worry about maintaining a pool, and that's totally okay, especially if you live in a neighborhood or an area that has a really nice community pool. Most people coming to Florida, whether on vacation or to snowbird or to live here for multiple months out of the year, are going to want access to a pool at some point. So again, just looking at total resale value and what you might need in the future. It's okay if you don't want to have a pool, totally fine. And there are quite a few people that I work with that don't. Just make sure that you maybe have a community pool that would be available for anyone who's coming to visit or in the future. All right, last, kind of along those same lots, you just have to really give a lot of consideration to, are you looking for amenities? Are you looking for a pool? Are you looking for tennis, pickleball, bocce? Are you looking for a social outlet? If so, then you likely really are gonna wanna land in an HOA or a condo association where they have all of those items. There are varying degrees. We've got neighborhoods that are luxury to the max that have insane amenities, and then we've got more low frills amenities where your association dues are significantly less depending on what they offer. So we literally have something for everyone here. And this is why we use the wish list to learn what is it that you're looking for? How is it that you're wanting to live when you're in Florida, whether it's part-time, whether it's full-time, to help you narrow down, because let's face it, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of communities and options and areas to choose from, and it can be very overwhelming. All right. Whew. That was a lot, but this is why you need a trusted realtor on your side to help you work through all these things And make sure that you're taking all these items into consideration when you're making a move to Florida. If you want to reach us, you can contact us directly at 239-776-6872. We at the Gillette Group would love to help you, whether you already know you're moving here or whether you're considering it. You can schedule a time directly in the Calendly link below to have a quick conversation about is it right for you, answer any questions that you might have, set up a strategy, whether you're 2 months away, whether you're 2 years away. Let's talk and let's set up a plan to get you into your Florida home if that's what you're hoping to do. You can always find us on social media. And if you thought this video was helpful, please like it, share it with a friend who's considering moving to Florida so that we can help you live joy too.